in life, life has a way of, making things funny sometimes. Um, what are some of the hard, or what have been some of the hardest parts about the past 365 days?
Accepting the fact that we are in a pandemic and it is very dangerous to be out there.
Anything on the news that you'd see in the past year?
I don't think there have been any like bad struggles, you know.
The homie Zebo account.
Welcome, everyone, to the 1 year anniversary of the High School Perspective. Get some claps up in here. So I'm not going to be the one to say it, but I guess I have to. This took such a long time to figure out. Just the whole recording process for today. It's no one's fault per se, but yeah, just a lot of trouble getting here. So without further ado, this I think is the 24th or 23rd episode that we've done, and I just want to say that this is kind of off the top of my head, but this past year has been honestly one of the best years of my life. I've gotten to start something like this that I'm pretty proud of until of course people start just hating on it for whatever reason. But it's a place where I think I've been able to talk and express my opinions, and been able to share other people's opinions in a way in which everybody's all inclusive, and anybody that wants to can listen along. So for everybody that's been on, and for everybody that continues to support me and watches, I just want to say thank you, and hopefully this video can kind of wrap up the past year. So more videos to come later, but for now, this is our new episode. So and then another thing, I didn't tell any of these guys what the video was going to be about. It's basically, the topic is a wrap up of the past year. So things that we've done in the past year, I'm going to be asking us about. So yeah, let's just go hop into the first question. Oh, and also I should say, we have the original boys back that were in the very first podcast. We have Paul, Miggy, and Andrew. Welcome back, gentlemen. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mr. Akita.
Okay, so I don't have a lot, but I have, a few that would probably stretch over a decent amount of time. So our first question of the night is describe, or this is more of a statement. Describe this year using one word, and then elaborate on the word. This is so exciting.
One word for like from the last episode till now, or just in general?
Describe the whole year.
Of 2020 or 21?
Oh,
or
I guess yeah, the past year, when this started. So April.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Man.
Oh, wow.
No, yeah, it's kind of hard to say in one word. I have a lot of one words.
My hair is just incredible today.
I'd say for me, the one word would be just to describe everything, just I guess learning, because in a year you definitely can learn a lot of things, and I can say in a year I have learned quite a lot of things, and yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, I can't really think of just one word that can describe this 1 year, because it's been so hectic. It's it's like a roller coaster. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. There are many highs, many lows. But I guess a word that I think that everyone can relate to is learning, because through highs you can learn something, through lows you can learn something. But just depends on how you take it, basically. So I think that's my word. I'm gonna go with that one. Learning.
I think for me, I would go with something along the lines of like discovery or self-discovery, because like around the time Will started this podcast, like first off, I've been in so many episodes of these. Like I don't have a count in my head, but I've had a lot of time to talk about myself and my experiences. And I feel like what's included in that is obviously in quarantine. I mean, we've had a lot of time to ourselves. and like not really seeing too many other people besides the ones we live with. And I feel like it's not always a good thing to be alone, but I feel like when you are alone is when you learn about yourself and your patterns the best. And like where there's no one else that's going to influence you on the way you act, like just how you act when you're by yourself. Like I learned a lot about myself this year and a lot of my habits and like different fears I have. I mean, I spend a lot of time like when I'm in my room just like looking up at the ceiling, like contemplating about life. Like I feel like everyone has to have those like every once in a while, but um yeah, I don't want to get too in depth into it, but I feel like I've done a lot of like self-discovery, kind of like what Miggy's saying with learning, like maybe learning about yourself. Yeah.
Um, I think I would say my word would be adventurous, just because I feel like throughout this year there's been like so many things to, like there have been like Maggie said like ups and downs, but with that like there was always something to like new things to try. So I feel like just being at home sometimes just made me more curious, going out there and trying new things. Going for simple walks, hikes, and being like close with your family. So there are a lot of self discovery. So adventures.
My word is, I guess it sort of has to do with like a lot of like what these other guys said. It's sort of like a combination, I guess. My word is adapt. I've had to like, in Miggy's case, I've had to learn a lot over the past year. Just me starting to make videos for my YouTube channel, or me, coming up with a brand new club over the last summer. Trying to adjust and make my current club like still like meet the kind of meet the expectation for what I wanted out of this year. Like even though we couldn't do it like normally, how we would want to in person, or with just not as many restrictions as there are this year. There's been a lot of adaptation to just us being in school, us communicating, us sort of just getting involved in other extracurriculars, and yeah, whether it be learning to do stuff or discovering stuff about yourself. There's a lot of things that we've had to overcome, and also take on personal responsibility for, because we've had to adapt so much. So I would say like there's a lot of change that's happened, but I think as we had gone through this past year, we had learned um, how to kind of tackle it on, like as we kept going. It became like an everyday thing. Like you'd go out and try to better like the situation that was brought to you. So I would say adapt is a good way to describe the past year for myself. So then, speaking of change, I want to talk to you guys about just how sort of we've changed, or like what was the biggest kind of change from this past year. I'm sure that there was a lot of them, whether they be good or bad. The question is, what has been the biggest personal change for you over the past year?
I would say, in terms of the physical part of, I guess, changing, don't think I've changed that much. Personally, I don't think I've changed that much. Like, I'm pretty much still kind of like the same person. I guess what I can say though, what changes, like my mentality towards things is different. A lot of things I look at differently, and uh, yeah, basically mentality. Like uh, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but basically, yes, basically mentality. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I feel like I haven't changed as a person. I feel like I'm still kind of like, I feel like I haven't changed at all as a person. I think I'm still just chilling. Physically, haven't really changed that much. Grown some more hair. Um, but yeah, definitely the way I perceive things and the way I look at people, situations, and it's definitely changing. And well, that's normal for people of our age, because definitely around this time where we're transitioning into that period where we're about to go into college, we're looking at things differently now, and we're realizing now that we're actually like about to go into the real world. So that's definitely changing. So I would say that has pretty much changed in the course of like a span of a year. that mentality is a big thing. So
Um, I think the biggest personal change for me probably I feel like I've had a lot of time to kind of cut ties with like people I didn't really feel like I was close with. Like, I don't know, I kind of came into high school thinking I'd be cool if I made as many friends as I possibly could. And for a while I did. Like, I was pretty much cool with like almost everyone in every class I had. And yeah, I felt like my mentality was to go around and, you know, meet everyone, make new friends because you're not like gonna see them like that. I don't even know how to explain it, but basically, I I think when quarantine hit, it kind of helped me realize like how superficial a lot of the friendships at the moment I had were, and how I think a lot of friendships these days are really only kept intact because someone's like providing something, or like it can be a lot of things. Like it could be something tangible, or it could be like validation, or something along those lines. Like I really felt like I really like if my circle at the beginning was this big, like at the start, it maybe went down to like this. Like I definitely do not keep up with as many people, but I still feel like I try to be cool with like different people. It doesn't help like to be mean and disrespectful to like anyone really, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, biggest personal change with I think my social life.
Yeah. I think for me, um, I think taking risks. I feel like with quarantine when it started, I was a little bit like too much in my comfort zone. But over time, I feel like I've just adapted and like told myself to take risks. And, anything can happen. So I feel like sometimes when we don't take risk, we're missing out on like small things that could potentially turn to bigger things. So that's really something our mentality I've taken. What else? But I think that's all. Like I'm still the same person, but literally taking risks is something I've implemented to my life.
I would say that for myself, the biggest personal change I've gone through is probably just more self-confidence. Like I was never really like insecure about anything I like physically like about myself, I guess, but there were some things definitely that sometimes somebody would like say about something that I did, or just criticize me for doing something that maybe wasn't considered like totally normal, like these videos for example. Like I get ridiculed and stuff for this all the time, but I think I've learned like not to care as much. I think I've kind of learned like as long as I'm doing something that makes me and makes hopefully makes some other people happy, then it's not really going to matter what other people's opinions think in the end. I think, obviously over the course of this year, I've been able to do stuff that I really want and really sort of challenge myself to, be able to, make these things that I want to do like the best that they can be given the circumstances that we're in. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. And that's another question that we'll get to later. But just in terms of me and myself changing, I would, yeah, just like my overall confidence level has gone up. Like I'm a better speaker than I was a year ago. Like if you don't believe me, go watch the first episode because it's really hard for me to watch the first episode and listen to myself. These guys were fine though. But yeah, I would just say that overall everything this year has taught me like how to be more confident, whether it be just about myself and what I want to do with my life, um, or just speaking in a socially interactive way like this. Um, so then moving on to the question that I had sort of just foreshadowed, it's about kind of what we've accomplished or goals that maybe we had set a while ago that maybe we accomplished this year. What accomplishment are you guys most proud of that you've achieved or are still achieving this year?
I would say I guess the biggest thing is driving because I'm about to get my license in June. Hopefully
Oh,
I pass. Hopefully if I pass. But that's definitely one of my biggest accomplishments this year because going into driving I was like kind of I wasn't really scared. I was just more like, damn, I was like, can I really do this? Or I was like, oh, what if I suck at driving? And, at first I was, not the best, but I'm getting way more comfortable now. And hopefully by the time my test comes, I'll be ready. I guess another one of my accomplishments is, I guess, finding like stuff to do without leaving the house. I'd say I'm pretty proud of myself for, I guess, making the best out of this situation because, as people know, I'm not really allowed to leave the house because of quarantine. But that hasn't stopped me from doing stuff that I enjoy, and I still am able to socialize with my friend group, which is huge because I don't think I would survive if I didn't have contact with people. But I'd say that's one of my biggest accomplishments, and just overall, getting through the year and like making it through, pushing it through, just like soldiering on, like through this rough quarantine, and it's been rough for a lot of people. So I'm just glad that me and probably most of us here have been finding ways to keep ourselves busy during this quarantine and not just letting the world pass us by. So I'd say that's pretty good for us.
Get that license, boy.
I know I need to get on it.
That'd make 3 drivers. 3 legal drivers, I mean.
Slander.
No, but I feel you on that. Maybe like I got my license over like not even that long ago, but I feel you. Like driving especially like in busy areas, like where I'm not exactly like LA or like San Diego type like traffic, but it's kind of stressful sometimes like driving. But yeah, speaking on like kind of the driving topic, I like over quarantine, I really wanted to start driving with my own car, and I ended up saving up enough money to split the price of a car with my parents, and I I like low key. I was kind of in between, like being like really lazy or like really working my ass off because like the kind of work that like I work with my dad, and he's a contractor, so we'd be doing a lot of like heavy lifting, demolition, like building stuff. Like it's cool. And like I personally don't enjoy that kind of work, but he pays well, and that's like the main reason I took it. So I ended up like making enough money to buy like a pretty nice car, starting car for like an 18-year-old. Like that's about to go to college. But yeah, that's definitely like the thing I'm most proud of. Like uh it's just there to remind me like I'm if I'm ever like not motivated, like it just reminds me that I'm able to work hard like it's something if I dedicate myself to it. Because I know like a lot of us can get there sometimes, like to where we either like don't want to leave the bed or we want to keep like watching whatever like maybe anime we're watching all day, or sometimes we don't even get the motivation to want to talk to people. Like I know I've been there before. Like sometimes your social batteries drain, but yeah, I think you just gotta set like high standards for yourself if you're motivated to get the reward. If that makes sense. I kind of like that was off note, so if that didn't make sense, I'm sorry. Yeah, the car.
I think for me, it's like staying positive and being motivated for sure. I feel like I've set like so many goals at the beginning of quarantine that some weren't attainable because quarantine we're at home. but I found ways to, learn new things. For example, coding was something that I was really interested in as a minor. So I began taking classes online and I found it pretty interesting. So, I mean, I persevered through it. Um, and like in terms of work, when school started, I feel like at some point we were like, oh, this is a lot of work, somewhere manageable. But I feel like time management, I learned time management through that. It's something that I got better at. And I think it really helped when I was managing, school and college applications and other outside activities. And another thing is my nonprofit. Like ever since like last summer, I think I've been working on that. So I mean, I'm almost done with that. So that's another thing I'm proud of. So hopefully I can launch it like later on this year. And I think just making it through the year is something I'm very proud of.
I mean, there's a few things that I feel like I accomplished this year, but in terms of what I'm most proud of, I would definitely say starting the broadcast club, because it was always sort of so like I've always kind of had like a liking towards just like making videos. Nothing like, I mean, this is like, I guess, an example of that, but just like videos that would like, like I've always like liked the idea of like how a movie's made, or like, like sort of like I like sometimes I would like watching like what happens behind the scenes more than the actual movie, which is a little weird, I feel like, but I've always been like really into that sort of stuff. So the broadcast club is something that I wanted to start as a way that we could live stream sports games for students that wouldn't be able to attend that night for whatever reason, or for people that wanted to watch the next day if they couldn't, make it for whatever reason. So and I was able to start it. So it was sort of like an idea that I had in May, and then so about a month after this podcast thing started. So I had texted a few friends about it, and I had said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and that was around the time where, or I guess a little bit after, where quarantine. We were in quarantine by then, of course, but it sort of became like very escalated at that point, and it sort of became apparent that we weren't going to get um, like close to what an in-person or a hybrid school year would have looked like. It was going to be completely virtual. So I was like, perfect opportunity for this club to come alive and for me to actually like push to get it going. Because it's always, it was like a cool thing, like just like to have in like the back of my head, but I didn't know how we'd be able to pull it off. But I was able to contact the right people, make some emails, just really just kind of work my ass off towards making what I envisioned for this club. And I am proud to say that 2 weeks ago, we streamed our first football game. Unfortunately, they lost, but we took a dub that night because we exceeded my expectations of what we were going to be able to do that night, and a lot of other people's expectations too. I had a lot of people come to me after the game, like staff and just like people in my family, and just kind of congratulate me, and because I don't think really like a lot of people, like kids or adults, know how to like do all this stuff. So I was sort of the one um that would like lead the charge, and it was like me and just literally like maybe 5 other students that week. So our second game is tonight. I'm really excited. I'll be an announcer. It's something that I like to do, and I'll also
Go.
be working, but I'll be also like probably working behind the scenes and stuff too. But that I'm really proud of this club. It's something that um it's something that I hope can please a lot of people, and because I think our last one got like 800 views or something. I was really surprised, but I think the feedback so far has been really encouraging, and really just makes me want to continue to put out good content, whether it be that or just later down the line in the future if I'm doing something similar. So I'm super proud of that this year. It's been a really big like confidence booster for me, just being able to say I did it.
That's what's up. I might tune in.
It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Are you going to be streaming it on YouTube?
Yeah, so it's like it's under the athletics account on YouTube, which is the one that Fortenberry runs. So
Ah,
and it was funny because
mm,
during the welcome back assembly, he was trying to stream the assembly off of a Chromebook, and that just was not working. Because you know how like a computer only has like the face cam, right? He turned the whole computer around and pointed it at I was like, this is I'm gonna have to fix this.
are you gonna bring like your MacBook to stream or something?
Yeah, we streamed it off of my computer last time, and it was like a
Okay.
whole like Fortenberry walked into the press box because that's where we're doing it from, and he was like, "This is like a whole like production setup." And then I don't know, some other people were just kind of standing around watching us set up. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I'll be an announcer tonight, like I was last time, kind of the play-by-play guy. So, um, okay. So next one, I have just like maybe three more. So this one has to do with the future of the upcoming months or the next year, and however like we expect it to go, or how we want it to go, or things that we think are possible to achieve, or whatever. Um, is there anything that you guys are looking forward to in the next upcoming months, or just in the next upcoming exact year?
I got a lot of stuff
Graduation.
planned. Oh yeah, graduation for all of us.
True.
That's a big thing coming up. We got a lot of stuff planned too. Like yeah, graduation, that test. Um, I think I'm going to Mexico. Can't. It's pretty good. It's gonna be fun.
Might be
Hopefully
a
I can
Korea trip
go.
too.
I know.
Right.
Hopefully our SoCal trip can work because that'd be amazing. Just spending a week with our friend group, that'd be pretty nice. Just before we go to college, that'd be really really good for us. Um, and then I guess college, but it's some big stuff planned. I don't think it's a lot of stuff planned, but it's definitely big stuff planned. That's all I can say. And I don't know. I don't really look that much into the future. Kind of just live life every day. But I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen in the next couple of months. Definitely towards like the end of the year and stuff like that. So
Dude, yeah. I'm crazy psyched for this. Like we all planned out, or most of us planned out to come to SoCal for a week. What day are we trying, or what, like, was it like end of June, middle of June?
I think we're doing like the week of the 27th through the 3rd.
Okay,
So
so
like
end of June,
yeah,
mid,
like beginning of
beginning of
July.
July. So yeah, dude, I cannot wait for that. It's gonna be,
It's gonna be crazy.
yeah, that's definitely on my radar for like upcoming events. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really I'm not really worried too much about like my graduation. I just kind of want to get it over with, to be honest. Like, I don't know. First off, I don't know anyone in my school, so like it's not like I'm gonna be going around like taking pictures with everyone. Like, oh, I did it, and like I kind of just want to walk on the stage, maybe like chill with my family, and then I'm out and on to the next chapter of my life. But yeah, I definitely need to see you guys soon. Like it's been way too long, and starting to wish I had stayed till at least you guys started going hooping like every Friday or so. That would have been fun, like to be around. I would have smacked you guys. Anyways, yeah, the SoCal trip. I'm definitely excited for that.
The of like vaccination. Everyone gets like vaccinated so that we can, go out and have a little bit of fun. Graduation too, if we have one. But apart from the SoCal trip too. But I mean, like apart from that, I don't think there's really anything that I'm not looking in the future either. But I mean, like college is still in the back of my mind, like if I'm gonna go to a 4 year or like community, that's always in the back of my mind. But I think, like May said, like I'm living life in the moment. Everything works out as things unfold. So for now, graduation, finishing high school, and being with my friends. You guys.
Um, I think I look to the future sometimes. If something, of course, if it's like if something's coming up, I always kind of imagine how it's going to go. Like our trip, for example, I'm like, I imagine this happening and whatever happening. Like just doing all these different activities with the guys. In a safe way, of course, where we can all be um, responsible about it. And it's sort of like the trip is a way to kind of represent like this is us now, like we're becoming men, like very young men in a way, but it's like it's a thing for us, like to say like that we've gone through everything, like all like the bad of the past year. Like we're trying to reward ourselves in a way, and so hopefully we're able to do that in a nice way for all of us. So definitely looking forward to that. Won't go into too much detail just for privacy, but um, besides that, I don't know. I honestly, yeah, college is one, and it's really only because I have no idea, um, like where, like geographically I'm going, but also just in the way of like, career wise. Like I know I have like a general idea of what I want to do, but it's not like completely set in stone. Like I think a lot can change over the next 4 years, just depending on how, um, my education goes and whatever. But yeah, also I think it's also gonna depend on like the people that I meet. I think a lot of people in my life have kind of shaped me to be the person that I am. It's probably partly me as well. Um, but yeah, I think talking to certain people and just figuring out like what kind of path I'm gonna be going down is gonna be crucial in you know seeing where I end up after these 4 years. So I'm just looking forward to anything, honestly, that that comes in the future, whether it be in just the next year, a few months, or a few weeks. Like in a few weeks, we're going to be graduating, which is insane. Um, in a few weeks, I might be broadcasting another sports game for a different sport besides football. So uh, just all these things that you can be super excited for, but you just have no idea how it's going to go until you really are in the moment. So yeah, I'm just excited for anything to come in the future. So this is the second to last question, and it's basically talking about like all the bad and stuff that's happened over the past year. Like obviously, um, just from both last April to now, I think there's probably been things that we've gone through just over the course of the majority of our senior year, and maybe just in life. Life has a way of making things funny sometimes. Um, what are some of the hard, or what have been some of the hardest parts about the past 365 days? And you could explain why. You could say what the reason was or whatever. But yeah, if there's anything that you've overcome to, you could end on a good note.
The homie Zebo account.
Oh no.
Dude, that was like I don't know the word for this, but it was like the best worst idea we've ever had. But it was mostly me. That was the one who suggested. But honestly, that whole app in general, is a no go.
Yeah.
My opinion at least. But I will say the only reason I really downloaded it was just because I became incredibly lonely at a certain point in quarantine where I just felt like I did not feel like I could talk to like anyone. And it's not that I couldn't talk to anyone, it's just like I really felt like I couldn't see anyone. I couldn't like get on the phone with anyone. And it kind of took me a little bit to like get out of that mentality. And I just the only way I could really make new friends was online, and I had that was my first option, like Yubo. I didn't really want to get on like Tinder and all those other apps because there's a weird like, oh, if you match, like you have to start dating kind of
thing that goes along with that. But yeah, I think in quarantine, or like this past year, I should say, um, I definitely feel like I've gotten pretty lonely, or I felt lonely. And I'm starting to like go out of my way to make friends because I'm like going back to school now, and I'm able to actually like meet and interact with other human beings besides like a black rectangle on my screen. Because dude, that's like the worst, dude. Like I cannot live without like normal human interaction. I don't know how bad it was for you guys, but I couldn't take
Yeah.
it like after a semester.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's my take.
And definitely the part where like not socializing and not seeing people, that's definitely one of the hardest things. Like I think most people our age have to deal with, not being able to see people. But I'm just glad that that I was so pretty close with like a bunch of my close friends still. Because before quarantine, I was definitely a social butterfly. I talked to a lot of people. I like in person. Like I talked to a lot of people. But then quarantine hit. I started like not talking to a lot of people except for the people I really mess with. But but I guess that's better because it's like not that much people to worry about, and also like I guess those are like the people that are really stick with you, really got your back. So that's a good thing. And yeah, I guess one of the struggles that I've had to face is I guess accepting the fact that we are in a pandemic and it is very dangerous to be out there. But I've come to terms with I guess staying inside, and there are some times where I'm able to go outside, and I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, it's kind of rough being like 18 and it's your senior year and you're not able to see your friends or go do senior activities or just live your life or like live or be a kid before you go into college. It's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think the hardest part was not being social, not seeing people. That was definitely really hard just sitting at home. You wake up, your phone, that's the first thing you check. Then you probably just sleep. There's nothing productive. That was the start. Also doing dumb shit online. I think I made a couple of bad decisions.
Great way to put
It's
it.
not bad, but like decisions when I did some stuff. But that worked out well. But but I think apart from those, like that one bad decision I made later on, I don't think there have been any like bad struggles. Also, like I hate sitting in the chair and like listening to lectures when the teacher talks. So I think that has been pretty annoying. But I think I've adapted to that. So yeah,
A couple bad decisions.
no, it was just
A
one bad
couple,
decision.
yeah, a couple. But come on,
It,
Paul.
it was one. It was one, not a couple.
I don't
Like,
remember
if you
that.
mean like one, like, and they had like branches, I'll agree with that.
I
No,
don't
no, no.
remember the,
It
I
was
remember
one
the
bad decision.
problem.
I feel like you guys all know what I'm talking about.
I don't. It'll probably come up.
No,
We'll
we
talk
talked
about it
about
after.
this.
Yeah, we can
We
talk
talked about this on this
about
day.
hardest part about this year. There was a lot. I would start by saying, you know what? Honestly, I think like this is gonna kind of take us back to the first question, and like I had asked use a word to describe this year, and I said adapt. I think that's what has been the hardest part about this year is adapting, and like because there's been so many things that we've had to just adapt to and learn to take in and look at as normal. So an example of this would be anything on the news that you'd see in the past year. Like I know I've talked about like the Capitol breach or the whole even like the whole election was in the past year too. I completely forgot about that. And then just everything that had happened, that would come out politically or just on in the media that you'd see on Instagram or something that you'd send to your friend and be like, "What is this?" Anything that you can think of that was a event that was seismic enough to like, look at by, be looked at by the whole world. We had to, like, for us as kids, we had to look at it and just know that it is something big, and it is something that, isn't really supposed to happen. But it seemed to happen, like, things seemed to start happening like every day. And it came to the point where it was like, things that we'd see um in the news or whatever, it almost became normal. And that's not a way like you're supposed to grow up. Like, very similar to what Miggy was saying. Like, I think we lost a lot of like our ending years of our childhood, like just being taken away from all the social activity, and not being able to see friends as, like, how we'd like to, of course. And having to resort to making a podcast in order to talk to your friends. But um yeah, but if you lose a year or however long, especially when you're a kid, you need that, of course. And I'm thankful for us, at least, like, to, we've gotten to our last year, not because we lost our last year of high school, just because we kind of lived out like most of our childhood before we turned, of course, what would be technically considered adult as 18. But we still feel like we have like a lot of youth left in us, of course. Like, we are getting older. We're not getting any younger, that's for sure. But and things are definitely going to be starting to change within the next 4 years. But that's been the hardest part of this year, is just adapting to everything that we see, and being able to look at it and say that it seems normal because there's been so much of it, but we know that it's not supposed to be happening. And then the very last question of this episode, for the 1 year anniversary of the podcasts, or the high school perspective. It's just sort of wrapping up the whole year. What we've learned, what we've talked about in this, for the previous questions, and how we've answered them. What has your guys's, and I've kind of asked this too on another episode, it's sort of related, I guess. What is your guys' greatest takeaway or biggest lesson that you've learned from the past year?
I want to go first. I don't know how, but I had like the clearest answer in my head, like right when you asked that question. My biggest takeaway from this past year, I don't want to sound like too cliche about it, so I'll go into depth about it. But I don't think failure is a bad thing. And I think it's okay. You have to give yourself room to mess up. Like, and I'm not about to bring up some I like how Michael Jordan got cut from his like high school team. Like, almost every kid who plays basketball knows about that. But like, it's good to expect perfection out of yourself. That means you're setting like high standards. But I think when you expect perfection, and especially because you think like everyone else is perfect or expects perfection out of themselves, like, it's not healthy for you. And I think I would start to compare myself to like other people, like different friends of mine who've been like working out, like getting big. That makes me insecure sometimes. That makes me feel like, oh dude, like I gotta step up my game now. Like, I've been skinny my entire life. So like me and Will know the struggle of like having been like skinny.
Got a KD build.
Yeah. So, like, it's not like there's people around us who like make us feel like insignificant, and I say that because when it comes to expectations that you set for yourself, you almost want to be, I don't know how to go in depth. I'm sorry, dude. I just blanked like really hard.
No, you're good. You just took your time.
I felt like I was getting somewhere, but I'm gonna have to cut this. So I think I say that because when you set high expectations for yourself, you might not get all the way there, but you'll get like as far as you can
go. Like you'll try your hardest. That's another one. Like let's kind of go hand in hand. Like trying your hardest, but also not being scared to fail. And I think like different examples of that in my life have been. I mean, obviously, all of us know like we've all been rejected at one point in our lives, like by a girl, right?
Hmm.
So, and like, what do you do after that? Like, you know, I mean, obviously, you probably have time to be sad. You probably have time to like, you know, contemplate, think about like, bro, I'm never gonna find someone else like her. And then what happens? You do, you do find someone, and they're probably sometimes they're even better. Like, you know, but at the end of the day, like kind of how Miggy said earlier, we all kind of learn something from failure, and how like I think Miggy's word that he used was learning, right?
Hmm.
Or oh god, oh. what just happened?
What the heck just happened? Paul.
So you're muted. I don't know if you know that, Paul.
You muted Paul. Oh.
No, my Wi-Fi cut off.
Yeah, I think failure like leads to learning experiences, and I think like it's important for us to have that like experience and knowledge, you know.
Hmm. I'd say the biggest takeaway, definitely for me, is have no regrets. Basically, that like there were so many things that decisions or like actions that I did that maybe like later on I feel like I would regret. But honestly, like living life with regret is kind of like just a waste of time. It's like basically saying like you're basically second guessing yourself, and you don't want to do that. So well, like what I try to do is I try, every time I make a decision or every time I do something, I always tell myself like don't regret it, or like even if this happens and you may not like it, like it may be the best for you, or that was at least you have the freedom to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? So like I would say, don't overthink. Basically, just don't overthink. Don't no regrets. Just basically, again back to what I said earlier. Live your life because you only have one, and it's your life, so you want to do everything that you want to do. So like just like how Will is doing this podcast because he wants to do it. So that's his own free will, that's his own judgment. So I respect him for that. So that's my biggest takeaway is you know have the freedom to do whatever you want to do because it's your life, and if you do so, have no regrets about it.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd say don't take life for granted. I think that's like the biggest takeaway. I feel like sometimes we're not content like with what we have. Like we don't appreciate what we have sometimes. And, like we saw with quarantine, like anything can happen, right? So like we should take every opportunity that you get because like you might not have it later on. And even if like you guys said, like Andrew said, even if you do fail, that's okay. You still tried your best. And I feel like that's something like that. What am I trying to say here? Cut this part out. But yeah, like live life to the fullest, to the moment, live in the moment. Um, I was trying to think of something else, and I can't. I'm blanked out. Yeah, just don't take life for granted. That's cool.
I've honestly been trying to find or I've honestly just been thinking about like what else to say besides take life for granted. Because I've said it twice already on 2 other episodes of this. But that's honestly like what I would keep saying. Just like I've used this example like plenty of times, and I'm sure I'm going to be just repeating myself. But in case you didn't watch the last 2, or maybe it was the 2 before the last one, I don't know. In case you didn't watch the parent episodes, basically, I'm going to sum up what I said. I said don't take life for granted because the question asked by a parent was like, what's your greatest takeaway from this year, or silver lining or something like that. I had said don't take life for granted because if you have anything and you think that you're gonna go somewhere, have the best year, make your senior year a movie, and make it like, if you have like a vision of like what you want, or like what you think is gonna happen, not what you want is gonna happen, but I guess that too. Anything that you have can be stripped away instantly. and it happens just like completely without like any notice, like if you have a loved one, like I hate to get dark, but like something could happen to them like at any time, you know, like just like a lot what Paul said, appreciate what you have, um, it, tell the people in your life that you love them every single day, whether it be like um, just completely random, or if you're having like a heart to heart moment, let them know that you care for them. And don't have burned bridges either. If you're beefing with somebody, that's you're gonna get over it. If it's really bad, they have people in their life, you have people in yours, so there's no need to like entangle or like read between the lines of like what could be like yeah, just if it's something really bad, then you just got to do you. But yeah, no, take for us in this next year, like I know that we're going to have a lot of expectations, but I've learned over just the past year to to always kind of assume the worst out of everything, like even if you think that nothing bad would happen. Like for example, like me and the whole like the broadcasting thing, I was like really stressing out like everything before, and I was like packing bags of like what I needed, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be what it came out to be, which was really good, but I didn't know if it was going to be like that at first, and I was really worried about it. And thank God that it did work. But yeah, there are so many things in life that are never certain, then, and that you're gonna have to find out for yourself. Whether it be, in my case, like me getting lucky and having a great team behind me, like to help me out with all that stuff, or finding out the hard way, which is what a lot of us have had to do before, and will probably continue doing, for the next however many years that we're on Earth. But yeah, it just, if it's for the next year, you can't really expect it. Like you probably, there's going to be things that you'll expect in the next year, probably more than in the next 10 years. But yeah, just brace yourself, be prepared, buckle in, because, life is not easy at all. So that is I dropped something on the floor. So that is the last question of this episode. And once again, I just want to reiterate, this is the 1 year anniversary. I really hope that I get it up by the date that I did post the first one. It was April 17th, I think. And I think today's the 16th. Yeah, that's why I've been pushing to do this, because, well, one, we haven't done one in a while, and these are fun to do. And two, it's just like, I want to make it for the 1 year. That's what I've wanted to do. But I think we filmed a pretty good episode today. And once again, let me just thank everybody that, like, honestly, like, thank you to everybody that I know that, like, I'm not, like, only like my friends or people are gonna watch these, but the videos that I do on this channel are never gonna be for views. It's always just gonna be like for people like to come and to watch and just kind of relax and have a good time. And like for us, like, who are gonna be talk, or like who do talk, it's just a place like where we can all be safe and express what we feel in the moment, like for us as friends, or like with strangers too. It's just somewhere where we can kind of vent to each other, like, and just talk about things and learn about things that we may or may not have known about each other, or about other things before. Like, I've learned a lot over the past year, just doing this podcast, like that I didn't think I'd be able to. So yeah, it's something that I don't take for granted, and it's something that I'm gonna continue doing until I don't know, until maybe high school ends. Then we're gonna have to change the name of this. But yeah, so
Best podcast out here.
we got competition now.
Yeah.
It's kind of frightening, but I mean, we're getting an episode up, so don't abandon us. Don't abandon us for another podcast.
Oh man, what, bro? You really think I'd want to get on another podcast? Like,
yeah, no, I'm just like,
They invited
they're
me.
like coming out, dude. Like, not just the ones that we're thinking of, but no, I think anybody that wants to start a podcast like should. I think it's because, I mean, you'll get criticized for it, definitely. Like, if I got criticized for it, but you'll learn as you go on. And I've done about 20 something of these now, and it just gets easier. It just gets easier with time, and you know, gain more confidence as you do it. So that's gonna do it for this one, though. Thank you everybody so much for watching.